I got a bit of an interesting video for you guys today. I'm going to be going over some Runelite plugins that possibly could help you to improve your PvP skills. Runelite is a third-party client that is officially endorsed by Jagex, so it is safe to use. I'm not sure if they fixed it yet, but there used to be fake Runelite sites going around when you search it up. So the safest way to download the client is to go to the official Oldschool Runescape website at oldschool.runescape.com, and on the left side you can find the Runelite download page. I have a list of useful plugins here in no particular order, but a lot of these plugins I personally use and some others that may be useful to others as well. Starting this one off, this is probably one of my most used plugins. I'd say this is a must-have plugin for when you do engage in PvP. The PvP performance tracker. This is mainly used to track the amount of damage you deal to your opponent and the amount of damage that your opponent deals to you. The most obvious reason you want this is to determine if you're winning or losing the fight. Based on the damage dealt and received, you can use this information to help you judge whether or not you should make your escape or commit to the fight and go for the kill. For example, most of the people in the wilderness carry about 7 to 9 brews, I'd say, and at maximum heal per brew sip, that's 64 HP per 4 dose brew, and times that by 7 or 9 brews including their starting HP, and that should be about 550 to 700 damage worth of food. When you see the number on the tracker get close to that, then you know your opponent is close to being out of food, and you can use this information to make certain plays to try and secure the kill, or you can go for the escape if you think you're about to die. That is why the PvP performance tracker is a must-have these days. The damage information is very valuable. Next we have Death Daughter. This picked up popularity in the recent months, but what this does is whenever you're on top of your opponent or if someone else is on top of you, then your character automatically goes invisible, revealing the person underneath you, and this can be pretty helpful in combat to see what your opponent is going to do and gives you a little bit more time to react to it as well. I'd say this is another must-have plugin. The skill gap in PvP is at an all-time high at the moment, and having these types of plugins can help you get an edge on your opponent or even out the playing field if they are also using it. Next up we have anti-drag. You know when you're about to do a bunch of switches and sometimes you accidentally drag one of the items instead of equipping it? Well, this anti-drag plugin basically prevents you from dragging your switches. I'd recommend playing around with the number to make it work for your playstyle. And at number 4 we have the high scores plugin. Why is this even a useful plugin, you may ask? Well, there's a setting in there that gives you the option to right-click your opponent to look up their stats. Being able to see the stats on your opponent reveals a lot of information about their potential weapons that they can use on you if they haven't already revealed it. For example, if my opponent is 60 attack, I know that they won't have a super strong weapon like an AGS, Voidwaker, or even a Noxus Halberd, and with only 60 attack, their weapon is most likely a DDS, G-Maul, or even a pair of D-Claws, because that's all they can really use, right? So based on that information, you kind of get an idea on what to expect. However, some people can surprise you with a dark bow or even a volatile nightmare staff. Next up we have timers and buffs plugin. This is pretty simple. It keeps track of your potion timers such as anti-fire, anti-venoms, and most importantly, it lets you know how much time you have left on your teleblock, and it also lets you know how long you are frozen for, because being able to know when you're about to be unfrozen is really helpful in PvP to plan your next move or even to escape. Next up we have attack styles plugin. This is more so for people that have peer accounts. If you want to avoid accidentally misclicking and getting defense XP during combat on your peers, enable these settings in the attack styles plugin and it will block every defense attack style option on any weapon. I do get a lot of people coming into my streams saying that they misclick defense, man, so definitely get this plugin if you are one of those people. It will definitely help you out. Next up we have customizable XP drops. What this does is it predicts what your damage is going to be based on the XP drop, and most of the time it is pretty accurate with the predictions. Someone in the comments asked me for my settings the other week, so if anyone else wants it, here it is. You can pause the video if needed. Next on the list we have multi-lines and wilderness lines. These are two plugins that will show you where multi-lines are in and outside of the wilderness. There's also a 5-tile spear line right next to the multi-line, so if you're ever within that spear line, then clans can potentially fear you into multi where they can kill you very easily. Number 9 on this list we have bank tags and bank tag layouts. These two are pretty useful, especially for multi-Pking. You can have different tab layouts to quickly gear back up. For example, this is my multi-tab for my peer. I can use this tab to quickly re-gear and teleport back up to our multi-fights. that we tend to do a lot on the streams. And if you do want to tag along on these multi-PKing trips, then definitely check out the kick streams. We're not done just yet. I have a couple of more simple but useful plugins that will help to remind you of certain things. For example, protect item notifier. It reminds you to put on protect item. Really simple but really efficient. Another useful one for multi would be the Phoenix necklace jingle. This will play a sound when your P-neck breaks, reminding you to put another one on while you're tanking. Uncharged glory warning plugin. This will help to remind you that your glory is out of charges. Pretty easy. Player indicators plugin for multi-PKing can be pretty nice to have because it displays the player's name above their heads, helping you to find people a lot easier. Another useful feature is you can right-click the in-game mage spellbook to filter or rearrange your mage spells. Make sure that you do enable the spellbook filter on Runelite to rearrange the spells, and you can also do the exact same thing with your prayer tab as well. There's a combat level plugin that will display the level range in the wilderness. You can see it right under the wilderness level. It tells you the different combat ranges that you can attack or can be attacked by depending on where you are in the wilderness. Trevor Parchment Alert is a simple plugin that lets you know that your untradables are not parchmented, so you don't accidentally take your Void Set, Fire Capes, or even Infernal Capes into the wilderness to potentially lose them if you do die above 20 wilderness. A lot of people don't know this, but you only need to parchment your untradables if you are taking it above 20 wilderness. If you're PKing below 20 wilderness, then you keep the untradables on death and you can simply repair them at a lower cost at Purdue. You only want to parchment untradables if you're PKing above 20 wilderness. However, this doesn't apply to room pouches for some reason. I don't know why, but room pouches are an untradable item that you lose on any PvP death despite the wilderness level if you don't have it parchmented. If you ever wanted to move around things on your in-game screen, all you have to do is hold down Alt on your keyboard and you can freely move around anything that you want, right? You can place them basically anywhere that you want to place them, you can place them. Pretty cool. Next, I want to mention the GPU plugin because there's a couple of things you can do with the GPU plugin. Anti-aliasing makes things a lot smoother in game. You can increase the draw distance as well. If you want to play around with that, you can. But I mainly use the GPU plugin to unlock my in-game FPS. For those of you that don't know, Oldschool Runescape has a cap of 50 FPS by default. So by enabling the GPU plugin, you can increase that FPS as long as your computer can handle it. I have my FPS target at 165 to match my monitor's FPS limit. Lastly, one of the most important things for clicking accurately in any video game is your mouse DPI settings. You can download your mouse manufacturer's software to adjust DPI settings. I have a Logitech mouse, so I'm using the Logitech G-Hub software, and from there I can change my settings. I'm using 600 DPI, and generally you would want to lower DPI so you can click more accurately, but honestly, some people do prefer the higher DPI and do just as well, so it really is just personal preference here. You can play around with that and see what feels comfortable for you. That's gonna be it, guys. I hope that at least a couple of you guys found this information to be useful. Make sure that you do subscribe, like the video, and let me know in the comments if you want me to do more stuff like this. Thanks.